I'm Kristi Pelzel, Senior International Correspondent for Today News Africa. Joining me is Dr. Tokunbo Ayeni, neurosurgeon and Nigerian-born author of the book Rescue Thyself, Change in Sub-Saharan Africa Must Come From Within, and my co-host, Mason Witzler, a dual fellow at Today News Africa and the Africa Center for Strategic Progress. In your book, Rescue Thyself, Change in Sub-Saharan Africa Must Come From Within, you write, nature has been so kind to nations, endowing them with more than sufficient natural resources. Does that book quote apply to Nigeria? Does Nigeria have more than enough natural resources and yet asks for more, and why?
The quote applies to Nigeria. Nigeria has more than enough natural resources, not only to feed its 200 million plus inhabitants, but to export to other nations. Before the oil boom, most of Nigeria's export earnings were from cocoa, cotton, groundnuts, citrus, palm oil, palm kernel, rubber, lots of agricultural products, and the nation could feed itself. There's no question that Nigeria has all the resources now. Why is this happening in Nigeria? First, the massive corruption. Second, leadership failure and poor governance. Third, and above all, a can't do, that is, cannot do mindset of the leaders.
When you say, how corruption is kind of negating Nigeria from being self-sustainable in terms of food production, could you go into a little bit more detail about how corruption or poor leadership and governance is preventing Nigeria from getting food dispersed, I guess, equally and self-sustainably?
Most of the money from the treasury is stolen. Let me just use that word. There's no need to be political about this issue. Billions stolen, okay, that should have gone to develop agriculture, food productivity, etc., etc.
What are some of your sustainability suggestions for getting Nigeria to turn this around?
The first thing we have to realize is that foreign aid and more money will not fix this problem. Most important, Nigerian leaders, both current and future, must undergo a 180-degree mindset shift. You see, this issue of mindset is so pivotal, not only for Nigeria, but for almost all other African nations.
I'd like to discuss some of the security issues with terrorists, bandits, disputes between farmers and herders. How does security play into sustainability in general, and how does security issues plague the self-sufficiency of Nigeria?
You see, at the very heart of this phenomenon, which is going on now, about the survival of the nation, is the lack of security in the nation. One of the saddest hallmarks of governance in Nigeria is that the fundamentals and details of governance are never rooted in deep knowledge, deep thought, unassailable facts, and data.
There's problems on the surface that are pretty clear and obvious, but are you saying that these issues are related to the security issue deeply? So if the security issue were to be solved, then many of Nigeria's issues would be solved then as well.
I think it would be a huge mistake. Okay, if anybody just think, oh, it's because of security, so we're going to send them bombers or policemen or no, you have to fix the fundamentals.
In terms of like a hierarchy of what strategy you would use, what would be, if you could, with your best information, how could you, I guess, solve the issue from like a top-down approach, prioritizing certain issues to solve over others?
And these are the three things that will address all these issues we are talking about. One, a transformation of the mindset of African leaders. Mindset transformation. Second, transformational leadership, a leadership that does not live for himself or herself, but lives for the well-being of the average citizen. 3, honest governance. Governance that will pay attention to the basic necessities of decent human existence.
This month, we celebrated International Women's Day, and it's also Women's History Month. Do you have a favorite woman African leader, or a favorite African woman who's a champion? It could be anyone. It doesn't have to be someone that we know even.
Well, thank you so much for asking this question. Mrs. Huda Sharawi of Egypt. You know, she established the Egyptian Feminist Union in 1923. The former president of Liberia, President Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, you know, who won the Nobel Peace Prize. But my favorite African female leader is the late Mrs. Funmilayo Ransome Kuti of Nigeria. She was a giant among trailblazers. She was involved in education and she was involved in anti-colonial movements, not only in Nigeria, but in other nations in West Africa, which some of them will just get 1% of her ethos and ethics. The nation will be much better off.
That's wonderful. Mason, how about you?
Yeah, you already mentioned her, but I actually went with Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, who was she was known as the Africa's Iron Lady. I just think what she was able to do in just so many different areas for Liberia and just Africa as a whole was incredible. She, achieved economic, political, and social change, won the Nobel Peace Prize, actually won the Presidential Medal of Freedom. So I just think what she was able to do in that amount of time and in so many different areas is just really renowned.
Marion Zyme, she is on the billet to be the first woman vice president of Benin. She is going to be someone that I think we need to follow. Well, thank you so much for this interview. I really appreciate your time. It's wonderful.
Thank you. Yeah, this has been great as well. I've learned a lot, and I'm definitely going to take a look at your book. This is great stuff, and I'm excited to learn more about it. So I appreciate your time today. Thank you, Kristi.
Thank you so much, Christian. Thank you so much, Mason. Thank you for having me. And I look forward to further engagement in the future.